So now we're going to just do the next quick step, just to get a normal map applied to our little marble surface here, so that we're just pushing the believability that extra little bit more. At the minute we do have our specular map in the scene with our light, so we're getting some form of surface change there, and it's nice, but it's not the best we can do if we want something that's really kind of like got a really nice texture to it. Okay, so it's really easy to do this. This procedure I'm going to be doing now isn't necessarily something that can be done for everything. It's just something you can do quickly to get a flooring texture done or a wall texture done. But for stuff like characters, which we'll be doing in a later video, it's best to go and kind of set up desired surfaces, desired layers to bring normal maps on specifically. So if we go into Photoshop, we've got our specular and diffuse maps here. We want to delete, we want to duplicate, not delete, our diffuse map and just move it above our specular map, so we've got a bit of a scale, a bit of a cascade going on, and then we want to change the name to that to normal. So when we actually make our normal map, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be replacing this map. So if you're going to be using something multiple times, you want to be able to go back to a hero copy. So make sure that if you are using an image that's going to be used over and over again, maybe just do a duplicate and then put that one inside its own group. Put that at the bottom and then lock that group off. Maybe, you know, that could be your safe group. But for now we're all right. So delete, just hide them too. With this top normal layer now, we want to go to Filter, 3D, and then Generate Normal Maps. And then we'll get this. And this is basically our setup for what we want our normal map to look like. So we get this window, which is giving us our parameters we can change. And you can see at the back that we're already getting our normal map in a preview. Normal maps are generated through a blue-purple with different colours to represent heights and depth of different areas. So I'm just going to change this to cube down here in object so I can get a better representation of what I'm actually doing. Now this is holding the parameters from a previous model I've done. So to show you what the power of what you can do with this, if we turn blur all the way up, and we can do detail scale all the way up, you know, we can make some really dense meshes, dense normal maps. If I go blur all the way down, so there, if I've turned blur all the way down, then it's just going to be really, really horrible information. And this is what I'm saying about taking normal maps too far, is that you can destroy a surface by using a normal map. It becomes grainy and too textural. Where for this normal map, we only want a very, very fine sort of surface. So we want to bring our details down. You can take this, you can use this preview. Maybe that's a bit too much. I kind of want to maintain this information here. So I might want to bring the blur down a little bit more. Maybe just move the detail up a little bit. Yep. So here I've got my invert height, which basically just flips it. Whatever it is appears to be going low becomes going high, and whatever appears to be a high point becomes a low point. And then when that's done, when I'm happy, I can hit OK, and then my normal map is ready, essentially. So if I save that out as a JPEG, as a normal N for normal, and go back to Maya, I'll have my scene here. And then we've already had, I had a bit of a hiccup before, so I've already got a image input into our file. What I need to do is just go in and find it again, and there you go. So what I'll do actually is I'll go through this entire process again so that I can actually show you how to properly apply a normal map. But as you can see there, our normal map's got a really nice texture to it, especially around this darker area. And those are simple Google images that took me 5 minutes to set up, and then another 2 minutes to apply, and then we've got something that absolutely can be used inside an environment or a scene or in fact a sculpture if it's going to be rendered. So let's do this scene from scratch. So what I want is I want my surface, which for us is just going to be this normal polygon, and then I want to actually change that to a Lambert. So hovering over my surface, if I hold down right click, I can get assign favorite material, blend, and then I get my blend menu appear, and you can see here that we have changed it to a blend. So let's go down the line. So color, we want to apply our diffuse map. So let's find our diffuse map. There we go. We've got our general RBG values input. Go back to our blend. Then we want to go to our, let's put our specular map on, seeing as we've done that already. Specular, and then boom, we've got our different surfaces there. So we're building up a bit more layer, a bit more texture. Now we want to input our normal map into our bump mapping section here. When you're first starting off doing Maya, it's not very apparent where you put these maps. But we want to put it inside the bump map section. So clicking our little guy at the side, we'll get this menu, and then we've got this menu here. So we want to actually tell our shader to not use a bump map, because you can see here we've got use as bump, and we don't want that because that's not the value that we're going to be inputting. Bump maps are brought off a black to white value, just like a specular map, but we want a normal map which is brought off a completely different value. So if we drop this down, we've got bump, tangent space and object space, and we want to go for tangent space because that's object space doesn't do what we want it to do, but tangent space does. So by clicking that, we've set what our normal maps are going to be assigned, what type of normals we're going to assign. So if you go back up here to file 7, or file whatever your number is going to be, and then inside image name, just input your file as other maps, and there you go. So now that's our file input. You can see our normal map looks really well. We're getting a nice surface. We're getting changes from specularity. We're getting bumps. We're getting some depth. And obviously this is a completely flat surface with no geometry whatsoever. But it absolutely has depth and texture that you can use inside a game or any application you want to. Again, I want to stress that this isn't the be-all and end-all of applying these maps. Obviously, there are ways of bringing them normal maps on from a sculpt onto a low-poly version of that sculpt. There's also different ways of doing these, and I'll show you how to do them later on. So yeah, using this method, go on Google, grab some images, floor tiles, wall tiles, wood, metal, and just experiment on trying to make these different surfaces just on a flat tile, and then move up to doing a barrel or a cup, and then move on to doing something else. Just do them really nice steps and get used to doing it in a really simple way, and then step up that difficulty in the next step.